Most men don't fail no fap because they're weak. They fail because they don't understand desire. They think it's a battle of willpower, a test of moral strength, but it's not. It's a battle of understanding. When the urge appears in your mind, your rational brain is already too late to respond. The decision has been made at a subconscious level before you even realize what's happening. You're sitting there telling yourself you won't do it again, that this time will be different, that you have control. But then the moment comes, and suddenly all that conviction disappears. You're back to square one, feeling defeated, wondering why you can't just stick to your word. Here's what most people miss. Discipline isn't about fighting your impulses every single day until you're exhausted. That's not sustainable. That's why most people give up after a few days or weeks. Real discipline is about understanding how desire works, how it moves through your mind, and how to position yourself so that you're not constantly at war with yourself. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire while mastering his own impulses, and his philosophy wasn't about suppression or denial. It was about control, about understanding the nature of desire, and learning to direct it rather than be controlled by it. If you want discipline, mental strength, and control over your impulses, subscribe to this channel right now. This is not motivation. This is not some feel-good content that will hype you up for a few hours and then leave you in the same place. This is self-mastery. This is about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to rely on motivation because his actions are rooted in something deeper. So here are 5 Stoic tips from Marcus Aurelius that will help you succeed at no fap, not through willpower alone, but through a fundamental shift in how you relate to your own mind. Tip 1. You are not your urges. The first principle comes from Epictetus, a philosopher Marcus Aurelius studied deeply, and it's this: you are not your impressions. Most men make a fundamental error when they're trying to practice no fap. They feel the urge and immediately think, I have this desire, therefore I need to act on it. Or this feeling is so strong, I can't resist it. Or it's more powerful than me, I have no choice. This is complete identification with the impulse. You're not separating yourself from the sensation. You're becoming the sensation. And when you become the sensation, you have no power over it because you believe you are it. But here's the truth that the Stoics understood thousands of years ago. An urge is just an impression. It's a signal in your nervous system. It's a thought pattern that has been reinforced over time through repetition. It is not a command. It is not an order that you must obey. It's just information passing through your consciousness, and you have the ability to observe it without acting on it. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful psychological shifts you can make. The moment you understand that you're not your urges, that you are the one observing the urges, you create distance. And in that distance, there's power. So here's what you do in practice. When the urge arrives, don't fight it. Don't judge yourself for having it. Don't start this internal war where you're trying to push it away or suppress it, because that actually gives it more energy. Instead, observe it. Just sit with it for a moment and say to yourself, internally, calmly, this is an urge, not a command. That simple phrase creates a gap between the stimulus and your response. It reminds you that you are not the desire. You are the one who decides whether or not to act on the desire. And in that gap, your rational mind can come back online. The intensity of the urge will decrease naturally because you're not feeding it with resistance or panic. You're just watching it like you would watch a cloud pass in the sky. This is the foundation of self-control, and it's the first thing Marcus Aurelius would teach you if you were here today. Tip 2. Remove temptation before it appears. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In the context of no fap, your enemy is not your own biology. Your enemy is the toxic environment that constantly triggers your impulses without you even realizing it. Most men think that discipline means resisting temptation every single time it appears, and they try to build up this massive willpower muscle so they can just say no over and over again. But that's exhausting. That's not how the Stoics operated. The Stoics understood that discipline is not about constant resistance. Discipline is about intelligent prevention. Here's the reality. The majority of relapses don't come from overwhelming sexual desire. They come from boredom. They come from fatigue. They come from loneliness. They come from being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong stimuli around you. You're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone with no particular goal. You're tired, you're not thinking clearly, and suddenly an image appears. Your brain lights up, the dopamine starts flowing, and now you're in a battle you didn't choose to enter. The Stoics would say this is a failure of preparation, not a failure of character. So let's talk about the most common triggers and how to eliminate them before they even become an issue. Your phone in your bedroom at night is a massive vulnerability. Social media platforms that are designed to show you visual content, especially Instagram, TikTok, anything with an algorithm that learns what keeps your attention, these are not neutral tools. Here's what you do. Remove your phone from your bedroom entirely. Charge it in another room. If you need an alarm, buy an actual alarm clock. Delete the apps that are most visually stimulating. If you need them for work, use the browser version during specific hours only. Set fixed times for going to bed and waking up, and stick to them even on weekends. Create a strict evening routine that doesn't involve screens. Read a physical book. Journal. Do something that signals to your brain that the day is over and it's time to rest, not to seek stimulation. A disciplined environment protects a disciplined mind. You're not fighting temptation every day if temptation never gets the chance to appear in the first place. Tip 3. Endure the discomfort without escape. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." This is pure Stoic wisdom, and it applies directly to No Fap in a way most people completely miss. Here's a psychological truth that will change everything for you. The urge you feel is temporary. It always passes. But the reason it feels so overwhelming is because you've trained yourself to escape it immediately. Every single time you've acted on an urge in the past, you've reinforced a pattern in your brain that says when this feeling appears, relief comes from this action. So now, when the feeling appears, your brain doesn't even consider other options. It goes straight to the escape route. The mistake most men make when they try No Fap is they replace the sexual release with another form of instant gratification. They start scrolling social media, eating junk food, watching YouTube videos, anything to distract themselves from the discomfort. But this doesn't solve the problem. This is still dopamine-seeking behavior. This is still teaching your brain that discomfort must be escaped immediately. The Stoic approach is completely different. The Stoic approach says, endure it consciously. Stay present with the discomfort. Don't run from it. Don't distract yourself from it. Just sit with it and breathe through it. Here's a practical exercise you can do right now, and I want you to actually try this the next time you feel an urge. When the feeling comes, stand up immediately. Don't sit there and let it build. Stand up, take a deep breath, and set a timer for 10 minutes. For those 10 minutes, you're going to do nothing except breathe and observe what's happening in your body and mind. You're not going to grab your phone. You're not going to turn on the TV. You're not going to eat something. You're just going to be with the discomfort. And here's what you'll notice. After about 5 or 6 minutes, the intensity starts to drop. After 10 minutes, it's significantly weaker. After 15, it's almost gone. The urge didn't need to be acted on. It just needed to be witnessed. This is how you build real self-control. Every time you endure the discomfort without escaping, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that the urge is not an emergency. You're desensitizing yourself to the panic that usually comes with it. You're proving to yourself that you can feel something and not be controlled by it. And over time, this creates a level of inner strength that no amount of motivational content can give you. You develop respect for yourself because you know you can sit with difficult emotions and not break. That's true power. Most urges don't come from conscious desire. They come from subconscious conditioning. You've repeated a behavior so many times that it's become an automatic response, and your conscious mind is just along for the ride. That's why long-term discipline requires deeper mental reprogramming, not just surface-level willpower. If you want to understand how to rewire these subconscious patterns and build real self-control at the root level, check out the Subconscious Millionaire System linked in the description below. It's designed specifically to address the automatic behaviors that keep you stuck in cycles you don't want to be in. Now, let's move to tip number 4. Tip 4, stop counting days, start building identity. One of the biggest mistakes men make with No Fap is the obsession with streaks. They're constantly counting days, checking the calendar, thinking about how many days they've gone without a relapse. And on one level, I understand why this happens. It feels like progress. It feels like you're building momentum. But here's the problem. When your entire sense of success is tied to a number, you're setting yourself up for psychological collapse the moment you break the streak. You hit day 30, day 60, maybe even day 90, and then one bad day happens. One moment of weakness, one relapse, and suddenly, in your mind, all of that progress is gone. You're back to zero. You feel shame. You feel like a failure. And that emotional spiral often leads to binge behavior because you've already ruined your streak, so what's the point of stopping now? Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." He wasn't interested in performative virtue. He wasn't interested in appearing disciplined. He was interested in actually being disciplined, and there's a massive difference between those two things. The Stoic approach is not about counting days. It's about building an identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who simply doesn't engage in that behavior. Not because you're avoiding breaking a streak, but because it's inconsistent with who you are. Here's the shift I want you to make. Stop saying, "I'm on day X of No Fap," and start saying, "I'm a man who has control over his impulses." Stop defining yourself by what you're avoiding and start defining yourself by what you're building. Every single action you take either reinforces an identity or weakens it. When you choose not to act on an urge, you're not just preserving a streak. You're proving to yourself that you are the kind of man who can feel a desire and choose not to follow it. And that identity survives even if you make a mistake. Because identity is not fragile. Identity is built through consistent action over time. And one mistake doesn't erase who you're becoming. So in practice, act like someone who respects himself. Act like someone who has mastery over his own mind. Act like someone who chooses effort over impulsivity, even when it's hard. When you do this, the pressure decreases dramatically because you're no longer living in fear of losing your streak. You're just living according to your values. And that creates a level of consistency that streak counting can never provide. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be disciplined. And discipline is about who you are, not what number is on your calendar. Tip 5, direct your energy toward purpose. Marcus Aurelius understood something that most modern men have completely forgotten. Energy that is not directed toward purpose becomes destructive impulse. The Stoics believed that human beings are not meant to be passive. We're not meant to just consume content, scroll feeds, and exist in a state of constant comfort. We're meant to struggle towards something meaningful. We're meant to push ourselves, to build, to create, to overcome challenges. And when we don't do that, when we live without structure, without goals, without something that demands our full effort, that energy has to go somewhere. And it usually goes into compulsive behavior. Here's a hard truth that you need to accept. Excessive sexual desire is often a symptom of a deeper problem. It's not the root issue. The root issue is that your life lacks structure. You're not challenged enough. You're not working towards something that actually matters to you. You're not using your energy in a way that feels significant. So your brain looks for the easiest, fastest way to feel something intense, and sexual arousal is one of the most reliable ways to trigger that neurochemical response. It's always available. It requires no effort. It's a shortcut to feeling alive when the rest of your life feels stagnant. The Stoic solution is simple but not easy. Give your energy a target. Pour it into something that demands everything you have. This could be training your body at a level that actually pushes your limits, not just casual exercise, but real physical effort that leaves you exhausted. This could be deep work on a skill or project that requires your full mental focus for hours at a time. This could be serious study, the kind that challenges your mind and forces you to grow. This could be building something of value, whether that's a business, a creative project, or a contribution to your community. The specific target doesn't matter as much as the intensity of your engagement with it. When you have a purpose that genuinely demands your energy, sexual desire becomes background noise. It's still there, but it's not overwhelming because your attention is focused elsewhere. Your brain is occupied with something more interesting than seeking the next dopamine hit. Purpose absorbs desire. Ambition channels energy. Responsibility creates structure. And in that structure, discipline becomes natural. You're not constantly fighting your impulses because you're too busy building something that matters. You go to bed tired from real effort, not from resisting urges all day. You wake up with a clear sense of what needs to be done, not with idle time that creates space for temptation. This is why Marcus Aurelius could rule an empire and maintain complete self-control. Not because he had superhuman willpower, but because his life was so full of meaningful responsibility that trivial impulses had no room to dominate his mind. You need to create that same structure in your own life. Find something worth suffering for. Find something that requires the best version of you. And let that purpose pull you forward so powerfully that the pull of instant gratification becomes irrelevant. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to address something that most content about No Fap completely ignores. The modern approach to self-discipline is broken. We've been taught to rely on motivation, to force ourselves through sheer mental effort, to beat ourselves up when we fail and then try harder next time. But this doesn't work long-term because it's fighting against the way your brain actually functions. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes based on your emotional state, your energy levels, your environment. You cannot build a sustainable practice on something that fluctuates that much. The Stoics understood this. They didn't talk about motivation. They talked about discipline. And discipline is not about trying really hard when you feel like it. Discipline is about having systems in place that make the right choice the easy choice, even when you don't feel motivated at all. It's about structuring your life so that you're not constantly relying on willpower to save you. Because willpower is a finite resource. You only have so much of it each day. And if you're using all of it just to resist basic impulses, you have nothing left for the things that actually matter to. Here's where most men get stuck. They try to override automatic behaviors with conscious effort, but the behaviors are automatic precisely because they're happening at a subconscious level. Your brain has been conditioned over years, maybe decades, to respond to certain triggers in certain ways. And no amount of conscious willpower can permanently override subconscious conditioning. You might succeed for a while, maybe even a few weeks or months, but eventually the old pattern will reassert itself because it's still there, running in the background, waiting for a moment of weakness. This is why real, lasting self-control requires you to address the programming at the subconscious level. You need to actually rewire the automatic responses, not just fight against them every day. You need to change the associations your brain has built, not just suppress them with willpower. And that's a different kind of work. That's deeper work. That's the work that actually creates permanent change instead of temporary streaks. Let's recap the 5 tips from Marcus Aurelius for No Fap. First, understand that you're not your urges. You are the observer of the urges, and in that distinction, you have power. Second, remove temptation before it appears. Build an environment that protects your discipline instead of constantly testing it. Third, endure the discomfort without escape. Sit with the urge, breathe through it, and prove to yourself that it always passes. Fourth, stop counting days and start building identity. Become the kind of man who is disciplined, not the kind of man who is trying to maintain a streak. And fifth, direct your energy toward purpose. Give yourself something worth working for so that trivial impulses lose their power over you. No Fap is not about abstinence for its own sake. It's not about denying yourself pleasure or proving how strong you are. It's about becoming the man who is in control. It's about taking back authority over your own mind and your own actions. It's about refusing to be ruled by automatic patterns that were built without your conscious consent. And when you approach it from this perspective, from the perspective of self-mastery rather than self-denial, everything changes. You're not fighting against yourself anymore. You're building yourself. If you want to stop relying on willpower and start building real self-control at the deepest level, check the link below for the subconscious millionaire system. It's designed specifically to reprogram the subconscious patterns behind compulsive behavior, the patterns that keep you stuck no matter how much conscious effort you apply. This is the missing piece that most men never address, and it's the difference between temporary success and permanent transformation. Hit the like button if this video gave you value. Drop a comment below and tell me, what triggers you the most? What's the situation or emotional state that makes discipline hardest for you? And subscribe to this channel if you want more content on self-mastery, not motivation. I'll see you in the next one.